Hello, and welcome to Within and Beyond, and I am your host, Lorraine Appleyard. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about intuition. What if intuition is actually much simpler than you realize? What if it is not rare, and it's not mystical, and it doesn't not make you unique? But your intuition is always quietly speaking to you every day. What if it was that feeling that you ignored, or that pause in your chest? It may even be that dream that you brushed away, or the strange coincidence that you couldn't explain. What if that's actually your soul trying to guide you? See, we live in a world that is overflowing constantly with noise and stimulation and this urgency and distraction. We live in a material world. But beneath that, there is a deeper truth. There is a quiet intelligence that runs through everything. There is a inner knowing within you, and that is your soul. Your soul is, in fact, always speaking to you. And we just don't realize that the soul, in fact, whispers to you. It's your conscious mind that is loud and abrasive and is very distracting. But your soul is very soft. See, one of the greatest misunderstandings that we have is believing that the soul communicates in the same way that the mind does. The mind is loud, it's fast, it's analytical, it is reactive. But the soul is different. The soul speaks in symbols, it speaks with feelings, it speaks energetically. And it arrives in a very, very subtle way. It may arrive with this feeling of resonance. It may arrive with this feeling that settles in your chest. Or maybe you feel butterflies in your stomach, or it ties up into knots. That's your body speaking to you. See, people think that our intuition is loud or dramatic, or is these great big visions or extraordinary events. But most of the time, our intuition is really just whispering gently to us. It's a feeling that we may get. It's a subtle pause that is inviting us to go deeper. It's a knowing that maybe you cannot explain, but the soul certainly does not force. It invites us to go deeper, to go within. Because it's the material world that pulls us out. It's our dominant senses, those physical senses that we have that pull us out. And it's our rational mind that is always chattering and is very loud. So one of the questions that, of course, comes up that people want to know, how do I know if this is my intuition or if it's my rational mind? And honestly, that is just part of the journey of awakening your discernment, which is a spiritual gift, discernment. So fear, it tends to feel really urgent. It will be loud. Your rational mind will be very, very abrupt. It will be forceful. And your fear, which is a component of the rational mind, because the ego mind is constantly looking to protect us. It's very loud. The intuition, your soul, is a subtle whisper. And often what happens is that we get something from our intuition, but then our ego mind pops in and just takes control and speaks over it because it has been conditioned to do so. So it's important to remember that even when our intuition is warning us, it usually is very soft. It won't arrive in a very loud manner. It will have a strange sense of clarity to it. It comes as a knowing. It will feel steady. It's fear that feels very chaotic and unsettling. So even if you get something from your soul, from your intuition that is warning you, it will come as a very strong knowing. You may then react to it, but that feeling will land very quietly, very subtly, and in a sense of steadiness. It will feel centered beneath that message. Fear will spiral. Fear comes from our survival conditioning, comes from our wounds, it comes from trauma and overthinking and projection, big time. But our intuition, it emerges from this deeper intelligence within, because it is consciousness itself. It is your soul that's speaking to you. And here's another thing that is really important to understand is that our soul does not always guide us to comfort. It will guide us to growth. It will guide us to endings, which will then come to new beginnings. But our soul doesn't guide us to status quo. It guides us to our spiritual growth. So the body is one of the primary instruments that our soul communicates with us. It makes sense, because I'm sure you've heard mind, body, spirit before, that connection. So our body is an instrument for the soul. It speaks to us by tightening our chest, by giving us a sense of heaviness. You might feel like a sense of expansion or warmth throughout your body. You might get goosebumps, also called truth bumps. You might feel suddenly exhausted, and that's just the soul's way of telling you, you know what? Take a break. It's okay to pause here. In fact, it's asking you to pause, because we don't always need to keep moving. Maybe that pause is happening for a good reason. Our soul may make us feel uncomfortable around other people. That's a big one to notice if you are feeling uncomfortable around other people. See, the modern world, it teaches us to just live completely in the intellect. But ancient spiritual traditions, they understood that the body is not separate from consciousness. It is actually just an extension of consciousness. It is an instrument of perception. And so intuitive people are not imagining things. When you are getting goosebumps, or when you are feeling your belly caught up in knots around certain people, or when you are getting this feeling of pause, stop, don't go forward, don't trust them. It's subtle. It is the voice without words. But what happens is that our rational mind likes to override that because it doesn't understand the soul, a subconscious mind. It wants to take control. And so what happens is that the soul speaks in a whisper, and then the rational mind will barge in and talk over it. And it takes a while to be able to discern that, like, that's my rational mind that's barging in now over my intuition. See, the soul will also speak to us through synchronicity, and this is, I think, what people don't really fully understand. Through meaningful coincidences, through getting repeated symbols and numbers, through unexpected encounters, through timing, divine timing, that just feels so aligned that a lot of times people will just dismiss these events because they're so subtle. But in ancient traditions, it's been understood that synchronicity is just a way of having this dialogue between our inner consciousness and our outer world, they're not separate. It's an illusion that things are separate. And so it looks like life itself is beginning to respond to our consciousness because it is. You think about someone and they call. Maybe you pray and ask for guidance and something appears before you, whether it be a conversation with a stranger, or you come upon a book, or you see a podcast, and that's not a coincidence. The soul is guiding you. And the universe, because it's not separate from us, we're all a part of it. We're all intricate together in this web. We're all one. But our consciousness is separate in that we're not aware of it. So we see ourselves as this physical body having this experience, but actually we're all connected. We're all one. So our modern life is so deeply overstimulating. There's this constant movement, constant noise, constant busyness, notifications, just this endless distraction that draws you away from your soul. And so while technology itself is not necessarily a bad thing, it pulls us away from this inner awareness that we can't connect with unless we are learning to be still. The soul does require space, and it's just because these subtle things can't be heard if there's this constant noise. And so it's not that you're disconnected from your intuition, it's just that you can't hear it. And you may be just in this constant state of stimulation that your nervous system is so wound up that you're not able to relax enough to hear the voice of your soul. So how do we return to hearing this voice of our soul? We have to return to this inner listening. Our soul is the voice without words. And so the only way that we're able to do it is by learning to withdraw and go within. We have to withdraw from the busy world, withdraw our physical senses that have been so conditioned to be predominant. And we have been taught and trained that only the logical, rational mind is significant and that we must be busy or else you are idle and lazy. Well, we're not going to be able to hear the soul that way. So we have to be able to learn to make moments of stillness, to be able to take pauses, to slow down, spend some time in nature, meditate, pray. And slowly what happens is that as you do this, you begin to trust these subtle feelings before that logical, rational explanation wants to barge in. So what happens is that we slowly start to understand that we have to listen to ourselves first. Your soul is first, not the rational mind, but in our modern world, we have that backwards. And our intuition, it develops through having a relationship. The more that you listen to your soul, the clearer it becomes. You're not separate from your soul. You are a soul having a human experience. And the more that you start to honor that and become aware of that, well, your consciousness changes. It elevates, and you're able to hear the voice of your soul. So you don't need to go without to look for things. Your soul has all of the knowledge and all of the information that you need to be able to navigate your life. The only key is learning how to silence the mind in order to be able to hear it. So I invite you to take some moments to step away from the busyness of the world, to listen to that whisper of your soul. I promise you that if you start to carve out moments for yourself in quietness, set some time for meditation, set some time just to reflect, that you will start to hear the whispers of your soul grow, that those little subtle feelings, you'll start to understand them, because it is a communication. And as you learn how to understand how your soul is communicating to you, that communication will get stronger and stronger. And you'll feel more confident in it. But most importantly is that you'll be guided, because we were never meant to be separate from our soul. We are one. And your soul is having this human experience. So I thank you very much for watching. Once again, my name is Lorraine Appleyard, and this is Within and Beyond. And if you have enjoyed this podcast today, please do give it a like, and sharing is caring. I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.